Hi. This nature has certain fixed processes and structural models which it applies to everything with a little bit of variation. I have been noticing certain processes, certain changes in one stream, and I could see how they are connected to other aspects. Now, it all would seem vague until I start talking about what I'm going to talk about. This is what it is. What may seem very vague to you initially would make perfect sense, I hope, by the end of the video. Just be with me and see where I'm getting at. You've seen how what's the life cycle of a plant until it grows into a tree. So what happens in springtime? So there, before I talk about springtime, there are four seasons, very distinct ones in India. There are places which are colder, they'll experience cold weather throughout the year. There are places where there is uh, desert, dry, low, uh, low low moisture in the air, low humidity levels throughout the year. So I'm talking about what happens in India. So in April, what happens? There is the process of creation starts. There are new leaves in a plant, there are new buds, and then this is the time when the sun it starts getting harsh. It's the temperature soars day by day, and then comes May, and then this is the plant which had new leaves. It wilts in May because the temperatures are mind bending. They're very high, and by June the plant is drooping and it has lost quite a lot of its leaves. Then comes rain, and then you see there are different branches growing in the plant and new leaves come in, and then they grow more in August, and by September they have grown so many. There are so many of these leaves and branches. The plant almost looks unruly when it comes to growth. It's growing in all different directions. By October, a lot of its leaves are shed because autumn has started. The process continues in November, and it continues furthermore in December because it has gotten dry and there is chill in the air, so that's not getting as much sun as it requires for photosynthesis. So the leaves also start getting yellow. By January, there's more content of water vapor in the air. There's uh, moisture in the air. So after after having gone through all different kind of harsh weather, by January the plant uh, becomes sturdier and it gets new leaves, and the process continues till March. In February and in March, by March again new leaves start growing in the plant. So see the difference, how it started in April and how the cycle ended in March. So what's the parallel that I'm trying to draw is something that I'll talk about after a minute. So these 3 months, if you see, fall into the realm of creation. New leaves have come in, but they can't stand the harsh sun, so they have wilted. And then uh, rains have come, monsoon has come. So there's growth in the plant. Then there is balance restored because it was growing in all different directions, so balance is restored. And by shedding of leaves and unnecessary branches, and the process continues until December, and then again Again, in January, after balance, there's sturdiness. This is what it is: a new form, a new structure, new physical structure has been acquired by the plant. So, this is exactly what happens when an idea is born. So, an idea is created by sheer force of uh, it's creative energy. So when an idea is born, it feels so mm, perfect, right? And you feel that you've come up with something really awesome. But the second stage the second stage that follows this particular stage is doubting your idea. So the next day or after a few days when you wake up, you are not sure anymore. And this you go through these crest and trough until a time comes when you are actually sure that you will go ahead with the idea. So this is the go ahead. This is the go ahead. This is the fluidity, bringing it to bringing some movement into your idea. And then while you are working on your idea, you realize there are certain things which are workable, and there are certain things that are not workable. So, what you would do, the third stage, balancing out, you would trim out things that can be foregone because there's no point integrating those things that can make the whole process unwieldy. So, you balance out through planning. You balance out things through planning. And finally, culmination. So, how it started like this, and then it ended much more compact, uh, as a compact, finished product, trimmed product, manageable product. So, there are parallels that you can draw, right? Creation, three stages of it. Should I not? Okay, I will. This this is the this is what goes on even with your idea. Then the fluidity comes in your idea. There's more movement. There's movement in how you execute things. You have got the ball rolling. So this is the second stage, bringing fluidity, bringing movement. Third, balancing out things on the basis of what is workable, what is not. What is workable, what is not. That's October to December for you. Shedding leaves because the plant was crumbling in its own weight, under its own weight. Then finally, fructification of things. That's hardcore, bringing things in 3D reality. And this is not all. The same thing happens with astrological signs as well, like Aries. That's when the astrological year starts. And even you have your budgets and getting announced in March, so that you have the entire year to make you those announcements go through different stages. I'm talking about the annual budget that the government announces. As I was talking about astrology, you have your first sign as Aries, fire sign, creativity. Then you have a fixed sign. Fixed signs are always resistant to change. So they are not just like you are toying with the idea. They're not sure. But once they are sure, they go ahead with the willpower. Because you would see the fixed signs will have the worst weather to deal with, whether it is May month, or it is August, or it is November, or things of that sort, you know. So like the in summers, the temperatures are at its worst in May month. So sheer willpower is required to get on with things. Then comes the mutable sign of Gemini, which is air, but the realm is creativity. So on the basis of their analytical power, they'll find out, that is not they, you will find out in the Gemini season whether that particular idea that you have thought about is workable or not. If it is workable, let's put it into action. So the movement starts in July and the movement continues in August, which is a fixed sign, relentless rain, sheer willpower required in making things move. And then Virgo is the time which is again a mutable sign of the earth nature. So it is the heaviest element. So on the basis of the movement that you have given to your idea in the September season, you would realize, uh, you would know how much can you integrate into your idea and how much can be left behind. So, finally, in the October season, the cardinal Libra, or the cardinal air sign, balance starts to come in. You start the process of balance. It's just the idea of balance in October, but the actual Scorpio season, that's October end and November, that's when you actually execute that balance. And finally, in December, Sagittarius, which is a mutable sign, you give perfection to that balance. And then comes Capricorn season, which is again a cardinal earth sign. So, so that's when things have gotten sturdier, things have taken a 3D form. Now, coming back to uh, flora, because I really see this work on a macro level. Every country has a certain forest cover, and those forests are of a certain type. Like in India, we have deciduous forest, both moist and dry. We have different forest, many categories of forest, but then the percentage is less. Like we have mountainous regions like Himalayas where we have coniferous forest. Just below that, still quite in the north, we also have temperate kind of a forest, temperate evergreen forest. And then, of course, as I was saying, dry deciduous and moist deciduous are they have the largest cover. So moist deciduous has 37% and dry deciduous has 27 to 28%. Um, Although India has total of 21% forest cover, which is bad. Why? I'll tell you. Anyways, talking about deciduous forests, what are deciduous forests? They shed their leaves when the season gets dry. They don't have that much water to lose through transpiration. Through the stomata of the leaves that are present in the leaves. So basically, in the dry deciduous region, which is the central part of the country, parts of western parts, a few western part of the country, it is so dry that about 7 to 8 months, trees don't have they don't have foliage, they don't have leaves. So when you leaves is equal to abundance, and there are two seasons where they lose their leaves. The April to June, that is the creative season, is compromised, and then the autumn season, which is October, November, December. So balance is compromised. So what they're actually working in is just they are having foliage, they have good lush green leaves, they are lush green in the rainy season, that's monsoon, which is the season of which is a season of movement, which is a season of the season based on sensation, feeling. So, what is the public sentiment? What do people need? They create only that what people need. They do not come up with something really creative or path breaking in the April to June phase, because the because as I said, the seasons are very harsh. So it's just not the trees, but also people living in a certain country whose bodies behave almost the same way. So much of their physical energy is spent in sustaining themselves in a harsh weather. And not most of the people have ACs fixed in their houses. So very little surplus mental, creative, emotional energy is left. Very little surplus nervous energy is left to do something outstanding, out of the box. So they're basically, as I said, they're just working on two seasons. On the maximum productivity happens between in the season of fluidity, in the season of movement, that's rainy season, and then from January until March, that's the season of 3D reality. So people just create things that uh, they go by the public sentiment, because, as I said, water is sentiments, feeling, movement on the basis of feelings. So that's that. You have lot of different forest that's covering earth. You've got evergreen forest, you've got coniferous forest, you've got temperate deciduous forest. But there's one forest that never, almost never loses its leaves. That's coniferous forest. And the countries that have that kind of forest are Nordic countries, that's North European, Denmark, Luxembourg, Switzerland, uh, the new Germany, parts of North America, parts of Canada. And do you know these are the countries that have maximum GDP per capita? They never go out of money for the reason uh, for the reason that is very clear in my mind, but I don't know whether I have communicated the same to you. They have a lot of surplus nervous energy, a lot of surplus creative energy to plow into productive streams. And what I'm saying is not that you can change the landscape of the country. There are countries like Oman, Qatar that have 0% forest, but they are naturally endowed with natural resources which are in maximum demand, like petrol, natural gas, etc., etc. So if your place, the country, the region that you're staying is endowed with natural resources that are in high demand, you are blessed, and you only have to manage things, sustain things. But if you are not endowed with those things that are in high demand, then do you have the extra, excess, additional surplus energy to create something which is going to be original, which is going to be popular? That's my question. And then on the basis of the forests, we can see what things can work, what cannot. In my mind, things can work like that. I don't know whether I've been able to communicate the same to you. So what I'm saying is, what you cannot control whether your country will have what percent of forest cover will your country will have. But what you can actually, to an extent, control is how much greenery that you have around yourself. Just like as we were growing up, we will stick posters of our favorite heroes or singers. So it sort of inspires us all the time. It anchors our desires, it hooks our motivation, and it propels us in a certain direction. On the same way, if you have a lot of indoor plants and greenery around yourself, in your surroundings, or whichever is the region that you can control, then you're constantly drawing the inspiration for abundance. So I guess, if nothing else, tap into that energy by growing a lot of plants and keeping trees alive in your region. All right, bye.